Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is Leading Off Live. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pizapia. With me today is Joe Orrico. So you're between two Joes right here on the Twitch, twitch.tv/fantasypros. That's right. That's where we are Monday through Friday live for Leading Off. And of course, you can always catch us on demand on the YouTube channel, Fantasy Pros MLB. And if you're watching there, like the video, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, and you might win yourself a Cecil Fielder autograph jersey thanks to pristineauction.com. Still a few days left to get something for Father's Day. You know what I'm saying? You can buy me something too. Welsh gets all these presents. I don't get anything. Somebody send me something for a change. Again, the Cecil Fielder autograph jersey could be yours if you subscribe to the channel, drop your comments, and ring the bell till it goes ding. Joe Orrico, nice to see you, my friend. The Blue Jays, signs of life, right? I mean, all of a sudden, getting after it a little bit. You got to feel pretty good, especially when you look at the Orioles, who are terrible, the Red Sox, who can't get out of their own way, especially in the rotation. All of a sudden, those Blue Jays look pretty decent in the East.
I've been one of the most pessimistic Blue Jay fans for a long time now, and just looking back over the last 3 weeks, the Jays are the most prolific offense in the league. It's a good time to be alive here north of the border, Joe.
Well, it always is. Canadians I've always referred to as the better Americans. And that's my whole life. I always have, and I always will. I love my Canadian friends. They are just the nicest people. And I understand why. It's because you don't get outside very often. So, when you do see other people, you want to be nice to them because it's cold there so often out of the year. Dylan Cease, he was stone cold amazing yesterday. 7 scoreless innings, 11 strikeouts. He was the headliner in yesterday's trade video. If you missed it, we were talking about trading for Dylan Cease, Joe, because, well, the expected ERA, the FIP, all of those numbers, the xFIP, were all in the threes, despite the fact that his ERA going into yesterday was over 4.5. The strikeout rate was back above 11K per nine. The walk rate has come down a little bit. Now I fear that window might have just completely shut for Dylan Cease. Maybe you can pry him away, but I don't know. After yesterday's incredible start, I think that window might have closed very abruptly. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it really depends on the league because some people will still just look to their season to date rankings and they'll look at ERA and they'll look at WHIP and 4.28 ERA, 130 WHIP. If somebody's just going to look at that, you might still be able to get a nice deal for Dylan Cease. And I agree. All those expected numbers are still really good. The walks are a little bit more in control. I mean, I know he walked 5 guys yesterday, which isn't great, but 11 strikeouts, 7 shutout innings versus the Dodgers. We'll take that trade-off. And I think if you just look below the surface, there are still going to be some inconsistencies with Dylan Cease, like there always are. But I agree that he's a really nice buy target right now if you can still pull it off.
If you can, and look, you got one shot at this bad boy after yesterday. Maybe somebody looks at the 11K performance and goes, "Oh, gotta get rid of him now because that 4 ERA is driving me crazy." But I don't know. I'm skeptical now. So again, you had a window. This is why you subscribe to the channel. This is why you make sure that you don't miss the videos, because there's a very tiny, just hours sometimes, available to make some of these moves. Shout out to Lard Fernal, who resub with Prime. So did Sean RS. So we appreciate all of you guys subscribing, resubscribing. Get rid of those pesky commercials. Don't bother with those on the Twitch. Let's get to Jose Soriano, who actually bested Cease with 12 strikeouts. He was the big strikeout guy on the board yesterday. 7 innings. It was against the Athletics, and the Athletics have been just terrible here over the last month and change. Joe, I had high hopes that I thought the Athletics might be plucky and fun. Offensively, they have their moments, but my God, the pitching has been absolutely atrocious. And Soriano's a guy that has been kind of up and down all year. What do you make out of this recent start here with 12 strikeouts for him? Would you be trying to unload him off that? Or are you hoping maybe this is something where he turned a corner?
I still don't really trust him. The strikeouts have come down, and they weren't even that great last year. 20% strikeout rate. He's lost a couple points, and he's sent them over to his walk rate, which has gone from 9.5 to 11.5%. The big thing for me is the stuff was always really good with him. The last couple seasons, 111, 107, and it's down to 94 overall. So I worry a little bit about what to expect from him going forward. I think if somebody's willing to bite after this start, and it was impressive. The Athletics, their struggles have not been offensively. They've been a good lineup, but he was able to take advantage of them regardless of that. So if you are able to kind of use that narrative of he just mowed down a great team and sell off of him, I'd probably be in favor of doing that. I don't think he's terrible, but I think that he's not going to be doing that too many times the rest of the season, 12 strikeout type of games.
No, I don't either. I think this is an interesting sell-off at the peak. I don't think it gets much better than this. We will be answering your questions, as Jerry pointed out, 4 o'clock Eastern today. But there's a couple in the chat that are really intriguing. Lee traded Bubba in a keeper league scenario for Wheeler, no keeper value. I'm going to go for it. The question is he going to regret this in a year or two? I don't know. To me, flags fly forever. I want the championship. Are you with me, Joe?
Yeah, I think if you're in a situation where you can compete now, I have no problem with this. Bubba, we don't know. Like they called up that Mudzinski guy today. They just have no incentive. It seems like to call up Chandler. So maybe it's another month and a half you're waiting on him. If you're going for it this season, I think that's a good move to make.
All right. Matt on the mound. Morning, Joe and Joe. I was offered Trout for an arm. Excuse me, Trout and an arm for Jackson Merrill. What do you guys think? Hard pass for me. That knee is still bothering him. We're going to talk about that later in the show. That's why he's only DHing. And the fact that it's still bothering him enough that he's only DHing tells me that we have not seen the last of Mike Trout to the IL this year.
Yeah, the fact that it's an arm leads me to believe it's kind of a throw-in arm, so it's not going to be a top 25 or 30 SP. Merrill is the true asset there. He's the guy that you should prioritize. Unless that arm turns out to be somebody brilliant, I wouldn't make that move.
All right. Speaking of brilliant, Grant Holmes, 9 strikeouts yesterday, 5 1/3 innings of 3-run baseball. Max Fried still continues to be excellent. I do have a bet on Max Fried for Cy Young, just in case the Skubal thing fails, and it's at a pretty decent number. So I'm not rooting against Tariq Skubal so much as I'm rooting for Max Fried. I just want to put that out there. Good game for Austin Wells too. He drove in a bunch of runs yesterday, actually. And if you look at 2 for 4 with a double, 5 ribbies yesterday. Aaron Judge hit another home run, but I wanted to pull this up here because there was another stat on Max Fried that I found. It was assembling some stuff for Sunday's show, and I found this stat here I thought was really interesting. The Yankees have a plus 62 run differential in Max Fried's 14 starts this year. So despite the fact that he's pitching to a sub 2 ERA, he really hasn't needed the help.
I mean, part of that is he's only given up 18 runs in 88 innings. He's just
Crazy.
Brilliant. I mean, Max Fried is somebody that I was a little bit worried about just from a health standpoint. He had a couple of forearm injuries in consecutive seasons, and I still think he's going to come back down to earth, but he is one of the better bargains of draft season, it looks like, to this point of the year for sure.
And, I know people want to give the Braves crap for not re-signing him. The Braves were never going to give him that many years. It was never going to happen. So, just understand that, realize that. Don't be tough on the Braves. Personally, I thought the Yankees were crazy for giving him that long of a contract.
Me too.
So it's been really good so far. He has saved this rotation. Period. End of story. Ian Happ homered twice, walked twice. Great day for Ian Happ. Andrew Abbott, cha-ching, got that one right yesterday. Plus money, baby. 2 or 3 for the bets yesterday, by the way. First complete game was a 3-hit shutout of the Guardians yesterday. 1-0. So Reds offense continues to be all or nothing, but what else is new? That's been the story all day, all year, I should say, for the Reds. The story all year for Lucas Giolito has been he's been awful, just terrible. So I wanted to bet against him yesterday. That did not work out, Joe. One unearned run over 6 innings. Ryan Pepiot on the other side was really good. 3 runs, 5 2/3, struck out 9. That's a season high for Pepiot, who's been terrific. I got what I expected out of Pepiot. I did not get what I expected out of Giolito. I am not buying it. He's one of the most dropped guys in fantasy baseball over the last 2 weeks. Do you leave him on that waiver wire if you see him there, Joe?
Yeah, the strikeouts are just gone. The swinging strikes have always been pretty good, 12, 13, 14%. He's down at 8%, and the strikeout rate is down at 17%. There's no wiggle room there, especially when the ratios are what they are. And it's not even a situation where he's getting really unlucky. He has a 5.88 expected ERA. He has a 4.20 or a 4.48 Sierra. So he's not just getting screwed or something. It's not a BABIP issue. It's not a strand rate issue. He's just not really that great anymore, I don't think.
Lee wants to know, will I see Joe Pisapia at the Mets parade in November? The Mets are like Thanos. They are inevitable. A big win for them last night. The only thing inevitable when it comes to the Mets is disappointment, heartbreak, pain, agony, all of those things. But I'm here for it now. I have more life experience, and I'm here to just embrace it now at this stage of my life. If they do somehow win, that'll be amazing. But I'm prepared for them to be, just like last year. I recognized I was having fun for the first time in a long time. Even, back when they made the World Series against the Royals a couple years back, I was in pain the entire time. It was just painful. I really enjoyed the Mets run the playoffs last year. I'm going to try my best to enjoy this for as long as it lasts. Inevitably, it will come to a very sad ending, I'm sure. I kind of feel like Butters in that episode of South Park when he gets broken up with and he's sitting there crying, and it's the one where Stan, gets dumped by Wendy, and he's like, "But Butters, don't," and he like ends up with the emo kids, and he's like, "But Butters, your heart's broken," and he says, "Yeah, but it makes me feel alive, and it makes me feel more human." So that's what I am. I'm now Butters in my old age. That's it. BD wants to know, is Andrew Abbott for real? Joe Rico, I can say unequivocally yes. I have had it with people questioning Andrew Abbott. I don't know what more this guy has to do. He's a good major league pitcher. Do I think he's a front rotation guy in fantasy? No. Is he a really great 3-4? I think yes. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Coming into the year, I didn't think too much of him. What we'd seen in his first couple of years was okay, but nothing to write home about. The strikeout rate dropped dramatically last year, but he's rebounded back up to 26%. The hard contact isn't too bad. 30% hard hit rate is really good. The 9% barrel rate is just fine, but overall, he's made a lot of improvements this year. Will they stick to this extent? I don't think he's a sub-2 ERA guy. The stuff still isn't amazing, so there is some regression coming. But I think that he is, like you said, a very, very serviceable mid-rotation fantasy arm.
Yeah.
Pitching in Cincinnati worries you a little bit. The last couple of years, he has had a bit of a home run problem, but he seems to have figured that out this year to some extent. So if somebody's willing to give you the moon for him, I would take it. But I think that he is a really, really solid mid-rotation arm.
I feel like he's one of those guys, you got him cheap. He's worth more to you than he is on a trade block.
Probably.
You know what I mean? Like, you got him so cheap. He's more valuable to your own roster. Luceros, has Gore reached A status now? I wasn't aware that he wasn't at that status.
Yeah, I think that he pretty much is.
He is.
The strikeouts jumping up where they are, 35%. While he's also cut his walk rate. The whips had always been a huge problem for him. 147, 140, 142.
Mm-hmm.
He's at 112. And a lot of those expected numbers are right there with his actual ERA, a 263 FIP, a 252 Sierra. He is fantastic. I think that he is an ace, yeah.
Joe, I think part of the reason you see the inflated peripherals with him was the inefficiencies. When you're a 5-inning pitcher, your ERA, your whip, all that stuff's going to be higher just artificially anyway, because you're not pitching deep enough into games. So now that he's going a little bit deeper into games now and he's becoming more dominant, you're seeing those numbers start to even out a little bit. All right, we got to talk about this. Sandy Alcantara shut out the Pirates for 6 innings. Struck out 6 guys. Now, here's the thing. Last good start, turning the corner, hopefully, was against the Rockies. This one was against the Pirates, a very, very lowly Pirates lineup at this stage. So, how much do we want to take out of this? And the real question is, do we want to start him in the next outing against the Phillies, who are down Bryce Harper and have had their own issues right now? What do you think? Sandy Alcantara, after yesterday, do you start him against the Phils?
I don't think that I could. Now, the Phillies, they have been pretty cold as of late without Harper as well. Like, over the last 3 weeks, I mentioned the Blue Jays stats have been fantastic. Philadelphia is the 26th ranked offense over the last 3 weeks. Without Harper, it makes me a little more willing to do it. But if you are in a weekly league, this is a 2-start matchup where he'll have to face Philadelphia and then Atlanta. So if it's a weekly, you got to lock him in for both of those. I don't know that I could do it. He might
get lit up in those 2 starts. There's a chance he gets lit in those.
I just don't know that I could do it. Like, yes, I like that we've seen some improvement over the last couple starts, but it's come against Pittsburgh and Colorado. So I kind of want to pump the brakes a little bit for people saying Sandy is back. Maybe he is. Maybe that command is figured out, because it does take a little while after Tommy John to get the feel back. That being said, I kind of need to see him do it against a legit offense, and he'll be doing it on the benches, where I have him in a couple of draft and hold leagues still, and there's no way I can put him out there for those 2 matchups.
And that brings us to today's Chasing Challenges segment, brought to you by Microsoft. Just like the athletes who push boundaries and redefine what's possible, business decision makers today are turning challenges into opportunities, and Microsoft meets you where you are with the tools and guidance to help make an impact with safe, secure AI solutions. So whatever challenges you're facing, Microsoft empowers you with the expertise to say, bring it on. And in this segment, we want to spotlight the challenges faced by those who have held on to Sandy Alcantara. It's gotten better, certainly, over the last 2 starts against the worst 2 teams in the National League. That is the rub. That's the question. That's the issue. I'm where Joe Orrico is. I don't think I could start him against the Phillies, and I certainly don't want to start him against the Braves. I just don't trust it. I am rooting for Sandy Alcantara, despite the fact I traded him away in a package deal to get Spencer Strider last week. And yesterday, I'm not going to lie, hurt a little bit. Made me a little worried about what that trade might look like. But I got Strider against the Rockies this week. So I'm hoping potentially I get to reap the rewards of that start. But Sandy leaves you in a tough spot. He might be getting better, but it's really difficult to judge based upon the competition he's been currently facing. When you're facing the worst, you better be great. Now, anything positive is a step in the right direction. The question is, are we walking right back into the Lions' den here with the Phillies and the Braves in these next two starts? And I fear we might be. So that is this week's Chasing Challenger segment. Remember, Microsoft AI solutions empower you to take bold steps and new ideas to drive your business forward. With Microsoft as your trusted partner, you can navigate your journey with confidence, finding innovative solutions and reaching new possibilities. Visit Microsoft.com/challengers to learn more. All right, Joey boy, let's move on with the show here. And let's do a little, what do we have? We have some transactions. Craig Kimbrell signed a minor league contract with the Rangers. Can you sense the idiots who are going to pick him up thinking he might close? Because I can. You sense him?
Yeah, I can feel it. And it's, considering the state of the Rangers pen this year, it's kind of hard to blame them if they're playing in a deeper league. Like if you're in a shallow format, you probably don't need to take a chance on this. But if you're somebody who has been on the closer carousel with Robert Garcia and Luke Jackson and all the rest of it, I could see people picking him up. I don't think it's going to lead anywhere, but I could see people doing it for sure.
I've got another stat. I was going to share it for another show tomorrow, but because somebody's asking a question, I think it's important we talk about it. Send Brown today against the Phillies. Okay, so let's talk about Brown for a second, because as we're going through some of the splits on some of these guys, here's Ben Brown's day-night splits. Today's a day game against the Phillies in just an hour from now. In the night games, 7 games, a 3.68 ERA, 1.20 whip. Day games, 7.67 ERA over 6 starts, 1.74 whip. My answer is no.
Wow.
Wowie woo wow. You like that stat, Joe? You like the stat nuggets?
That is eye-opening for sure. I've had a few people ask me the same question, and I've been on the same train of he's probably not somebody I would start. Even with the Phillies kind of struggling, I think it's a little bit of a risk, but I think Brown, if he is sitting anywhere, I think that he is somebody that is worth picking up. The strikeouts have 100%. Been really good recently. There was a couple of bad starts in there. Cincinnati and Miami blowing them up isn't giving you that warm, fuzzy feeling, but the previous 2 starts against Cincinnati, 6 clean innings with 9 strikeouts, and against a good Tigers offense, 7 innings, 2 runs, 7 strikeouts. So pick him up, sit him, and reap the rewards.
He's a vampire.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Don't start him in the daytime. He melts in the sun. Just saying. All right, let's do a little rookie. Roman Anthony got his first career hit yesterday, which was nice because he got called up so quickly 2 days ago that his parents couldn't make the game, which was kind of sad. I didn't realize that at the time. So they got there yesterday. And obviously good things yesterday. He got his first hit. Mick Abel, again, considered, by many to be kind of a flyer until Nola comes back. Well, Nola is not coming back anytime soon. We learned that yesterday. More on that in the injury segment to come. He gave up a couple solo homers. That was about it against the Cubs. Tough lineup. So once again, Mick Abel giving you some quality innings. If you're a Phillies fan, you got to love that. And Jacob Misiorowski also called up. He's going to start Thursday. He's 4-2 with 80 strikeouts in 63 innings. He also has 31 walks over that period with a 2.13 ERA. Is this a one and done for Misiorowski here, or do you think he sticks around?
I would imagine that this is not something that's going to stick. And a lot of it comes down to how they have used Henderson. Logan Henderson was brilliant, did everything he possibly could have to stay up.
Right.
And they still sent him down. You're going to laugh at me, but eventually Brandon Woodruff probably is going to come back. Who knows, but he is probably going to come back. They'll have Nestor Cortez coming back at some point. I think that it's probably just a spot start, and it comes against St. Louis, who recently hasn't been great over the last 3 weeks. They've been pretty poor, but this is not like I saw just looking at Yahoo. There were 20,000 ads of Misiorowski yesterday. These people are probably going to be dropping him again in a week's time.
Probably. I would agree. I do think, though, next year, when you've got theoretically Peralta, maybe Woodruff, Misiorowski, Henderson, it's a really good looking rotation. In fact, it's such a good looking rotation that it makes you wonder too, like, do they this offseason make a move for a bat and try to fortify that offense? Because that pitching looks like it's pretty good. And since you mentioned Brandon Woodruff, I want to introduce a new segment to the show called Dark Joe. And I think this is a really good situation. Brandon Woodruff's never coming back. It's never happening. He'll be on rehab starts forever and ever. All right, there you go. Dark Joe. Whenever you mention Brandon Woodruff, that's what happens now. From now on, it's a new segment on the program. All right, let's get to fun facts. Mitch Keller is 1-9 with a 4.15 ERA. He has quality starts 10 times in 14 tries this year, and he's gone 0-7 in the 9 starts in which he's allowed 2 or 3 runs. He gets the Cubs next week. Mitch Keller can help a lot of teams. I want to say if there's the Boston Red Sox right now could use Mitch Keller. You know, like there's a lot of teams right now that could use another. The Arizona Diamondbacks, they could use Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller might be, dare I say, one of the best guys on the market in the next month here at the trade deadline. Your thoughts on those stats I just gave you, which are pretty absurd considering the Pirates have. I mean, this is why I'm not going crazy about the Sandy Alcantara start because the Pirates are that atrocious.
That's miserable for him. You got to feel for him on a human level that he's going out there every time out doing his job, and yet he's sitting here with a 1-9 record. I'm not a huge Keller fan. Like I from a fantasy point of view, the win potential is obviously non-existent. The strikeouts aren't really there, but there are, like you said, a few teams that could really use him. My Blue Jays, I think, could really use a starting pitcher. The chance that if they keep things up, they could go after Mitch Keller. I'm not sure. Let me see what does his contract look like. He's got a couple of years left still. He signed through 2028. So, Pirates could probably get a little decent return for him.
Hey, Duran's got a couple of years. There's a deal that helps everybody. You know,
I think the Pirates would have to throw in something else as well as Keller, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. You know what? They're gonna have a logjam when Abreu comes back, and Rafael is gonna end up being a bench player, despite the fact he's the better defensive center fielder. That's just gonna happen. Right. You're not sending Rowan Anthony down after all this. Like, it's just not happening, folks. So he's here to stay. He's here to play. The question is, who's the odd man out there? And you can either keep doing this and throwing your head up against, the wall with guys like Walker Buehler and guys like Giolito, or you can, try to get some other bodies in here and see if you could shake things up a little bit. Maybe move Walker to the bullpen. I don't know. We'll see what he does today. Kyle Schwarber was Welsh's pick for a home run yesterday. 0 for 5, 3 strikeouts. I just thought that was fun. So, Welsh, enjoy your root canal today. Also yesterday, also fun, a little bit of stuff going back and forth with the mascots. So apparently last week, Dinger, the mascot of the Rockies, was shooting his shot, in case you missed it, on Mrs. Met, who, Mrs. Met, as far as the mascots go, she's a hottie, right? We all recognize that. Mrs. Met, call me, the sign says he's holding it up. Now, last night, I guess Mrs. Met decided to go after him here, and she had a sign herself. It says, "My husband has bigger biceps. Take a hike, Barney." Ouch. I think the Barney one really hit home there. I thought that was a low blow there. So Mrs. Met says, "I'm a married lady. Get out of my DMs." What do you think, Joe?
This is a real picture right here. This isn't AI.
This really happened in the game last night. I was watching the game, and this really happened, and I missed the thing that happened over the weekend because I was coaching flag football all weekend, and then they did a recap of this story, and I said, this is hilarious. And I wanted to share with you, Joe Orrico.
I'm so glad you saved it for my time on the show, or that it just happened to work out when I was going to be on the show, because I'm not here very often, but it's good to see some fun.
Well, I mean, she called him Barney. That's very emasculating if you're Dinger. Just like as if the Rocky season couldn't get bad enough. You had Mrs. Met bury you. That's pretty bad. Pretty bad. All right, let's get to the 3 up and 3 down. Alejandro Kirk, 3 for 5 with a homer. Man, your boy's been red hot, Joey. Alejandro, this is the second day in a row he's made the ups. Take a minute for Kirk, and then we'll go through the rest of ups and downs.
Well, this is kind of the first year where I wasn't really super in on Kirk after the previous couple of years of disappointments, and he's cut the strikeout rate. He's got the batting average way up. It's at 323. Is he going to maintain this pace? Probably not, but if you landed on him as a late catcher, or especially in those 2-catcher leagues, like you kind of struck gold, especially with the state of the Blue Jays offense right in the middle of that order and doing great things other than runs. Only 17 runs is kind of crappy, but it's hard to complain about a catcher hitting 323.
No, you'll take that, especially nowadays with batting average being tough to find. Jackson Chourio 2 for 4 with a 2-run dinger, and Luis Robert 2 for 4 with a homer too. Lance McCullers wasn't great. We're going to get to him in a second. Logan Evans making the start with Miller out, 5 strikeouts, 5 innings, but allowed 4 runs. Noah Cameron got destroyed by the Yankees, 6 runs. Yankees just went, bananas last night. We'll see what happens today. They're going to face Bubic. That's going to be a really interesting test, Bubic and the Yankees today. I want to see that. And Lance McCullers on extra rest, 4 runs, 6 strikeouts over 5 innings. So this was against the White Sox, a start that I think all of us were going, ooh, yay, he's been so good. Let's start him against the White Sox. And this was a reminder, he didn't look sharp. He didn't look like he had the breaking stuff early on in this game. maybe it's just a one-off, or maybe this is just again the ride that is Lance McCullers. So,
Yeah.
do you think there's a lot of people having buyer's remorse last week, overspending on McCullers after this start?
Maybe a little bit, but also the White Sox have been not too bad as of late. I think their lineup is actually looking kind of decent, as crazy as that is to say. Talkman at the top, Meadroff, Benintendi's been good. Vargas has been a good contributor. Caro and Teal, Luis Robert hitting seventh. It's not as bad of a lineup as we probably perceive it to be. So I'm not going to panic about this for McCullers. He's not going to be a savior for you, but I think if you did purchase him in Fab or pick him up on waivers, you're still going to be pretty happy with that as long as you weren't spending 10-20% of your overall budget. I think most people got him in the 5 to 7% range, and I think that that's kind of proper. Honestly, I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think he'll be a pretty good return on investment.
All right, let's get to the injuries, and there are a ton, Joe. Logan Gilbert, 6 strikeouts over 5 scoreless. That was a great rehab start for him yesterday in AAA. So my guess is after 5 innings, you're probably going to see him activated very soon. Also, Bryce Miller shut down from throwing for 2 weeks. He's going to get that PRP injection. He could return in 4 to 6 weeks, and I could grow hair back on my head. We'll see what happens first. Diamondbacks put Justin Martinez on the IL with a UCL sprain in his right elbow. You won't see him again this year, I guarantee it. Aaron Nola was shut down after being diagnosed with a stress reaction in his right rib. It's starting to feel like a lost season for Aaron Nola. Are you getting that vibe, Joe?
I am, yeah, and I think it means that it's probably Mick Abel time, and it might make it even easier in a couple months for it to be Andrew Painter time, depending on the way the rest of the
Yes.
rotation shakes out. I'm not sure how that'll work. We'll have to see how Luzardo fares. I kept thinking that he was going to go on the IL. I can't believe he's making this start today against the Cubs, but we'll see what all plays out there. But yeah, Nola, I wouldn't drop him necessarily, but I wouldn't expect a ton from him either.
Giancarlo Stanton played around the corner for me yesterday, 2 for 3 with 3 ribbies and Double-A Somerset. So Yankees expect to get him back soon, which should be interesting how he fits back in that DH spot and where everybody else starts moving around. Do you think this hurts Ben Rice playing time?
I'm really not sure how it's all going to play out because they have been putting Rice behind the plate a little bit here and there. He plays first. I honestly don't know. I think maybe Trent Grisham is the one who loses playing time just because he is really cooled off, but I'm not sure if they want to put Bellinger in center necessarily. But I feel like it's probably not Ben Rice. If I had to pick one guy in the lineup who probably loses the most playing time, I feel like it would be Trent Grisham.
That would make sense. That was smart. Smart answer. Nate Eovaldi is on track to throw a bullpen this weekend with his triceps injury. Sean Manaea dealing with that oblique. 2 2/3 scoreless innings Tuesday in a minor league rehab start for High A Brooklyn. Shane McClanahan said that imaging revealed his arm, quote, couldn't be better, end quote, structurally. However, there's still no timetable for Shane McClanahan's return. So I don't care. I don't care if everything's great. If you're not with a timetable by now, it's the 11th of June. We don't have a time frame for you right now. That's not good. Matt Chapman has been diagnosed with a hand sprain. He's going to see a specialist for further evaluation. And speaking of the Giants, Justin Verlander is going to face hitters on Wednesday. Now, they've got an interesting situation here because Birdsong's pitched well. Harrison had a good start yesterday. I don't know if I know he's going to come back and kick one of them out of the rotation. The question is, do you kick out Harrison, the lefty, or do you kick out Birdsong?
They probably send Birdsong back to the pen. They shouldn't. I mean, Verlander should be sitting on a porch somewhere with an iced tea. I don't think that he really should be pitching in major league games anymore. But it's probably Birdsong, as much as I hate that for how much exposure I have to him. But I think that that's what they'll do. He's only been in there for a few starts. I think they'll send him back to long relief.
Yeah, let me tell you something, man. This is why I picked up Kyle Harrison a couple weeks ago. This is why I was pushing for it because I'm like,
Yeah.
I think Birdsong's probably the more likely guy to go back into the bullpen because I think it helps the most. And nobody wanted to hear that 2 weeks ago. Everybody said I was crazy, and they're right. But I could be correct about this. Let's see. Let's see if I'm right or wrong. Jacob Wilson was scratched yesterday, hamstring tightness. So just monitor that in daily transaction league. Zebby Matthews has I want to get this right, a moderate subscapularis strain. I hate when my subscapularis hurts. Like, when you get to 40, it's the first thing to go. He's going to be shut down from throwing for 2 weeks. Spencer Arrighetti, though, is throwing bullpens. That's good. Shohei Ohtani, 44 pitch, 3 inning live batting practice. Give me a date you would see Shohei Ohtani throw a pitch in the major leagues by. Joe Orrico.
The 4th of July. Feels
What?
like,
That soon?
well, if he's
That's
already up
less
to
than a month
40,
away.
If he's already up to 45 pitches, you got another 3 weeks. Let's say even they throw him every 6 days and expand on that by 10 or 15 pitches. I think that makes sense. I don't think it makes a lot of sense for the Dodgers to push him so much. Like, I feel like they probably should either have him go just a couple innings here and there, or maybe have him as the closer. I don't know if that would even work out necessarily, but with the revolving door of Tanner Scott's been Kirby Yates has been kind of up and down. I wouldn't hate that just to preserve him, but considering Justin Robleski is throwing the bulk of innings today, maybe they want him back in the rotation. But I feel like, we're about 3 weeks to a month out from when we're probably going to see him. They're not going to just say 100 pitches. But
look at this comment from Michael. Ohtani makes 20 starts before Woodruff makes one.
He might.
Yeah, they've most starting pitchers in the major leagues to use this year. The Dodgers, 14 different starters this year.
Every single pitcher that they acquire is a guy who has a history of injuries or is a high-risk guy in some way or another. So it kind of makes sense that a lot of their guys get hurt, but at the same time, it's like there's going to be a 30 for 30 if they still even do those. They're going to do something about the Dodgers' injuries.
The problem is they do them, but they're like on the most obscure. There's like this guy in table tennis, or this guy who ran a marathon in Zimbabwe once. Like, I want a 30 for 30 on Charles Barkley or something. Like, I want something entertaining, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
I don't. That's like, this guy was a member of the Icelandic bobsled team. I'm like, I don't need a 30 for 30 on that ESPN. And it's like 6 hours long, 3 parts too.
Yeah, they're always big.
Right? Have you noticed this? Oh,
yeah,
God.
I miss those.
Yeah, but I miss them when they were about players I knew and sports I watched. Yes. Oh, God. Stop it. They're so bad. And I used to love the 30 for 30s, and they're so bad now. They're just so random. I think there was one like a video game thing. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? BMX Rider, 3-part documentary series, 17 hours long, 30 for 30. Blake Snell, 15-pitch bullpen session yesterday, so keep your fingers crossed. The first time he's thrown a ball since April. Jesus. Mike Trout remains in the DH role again, lingering soreness in the left knee. I'm telling you right now, boys and girls, if you don't get out from the Mike Trout thing, that's on you. It's on you. Shota Imanaga is going to make another rehab start Saturday. Hope is they get him back in that rotation next week. And Yordan Alvarez has still not resumed swinging a bat. So, Joe, do you take advantage of this rock bottom price for Alvarez, or do you just want nothing to do with him in a trade because you just don't think he's going to be who he is when he comes back?
After seeing the ineptitude of their medical staff with Kyle Tucker last year and that whole debacle, like what he come back in September and played a handful of games or something, we might be looking at the same thing with Yordan. So unless it's truly dirt floor cheap, you're getting him for nothing, then I think it's probably a little bit too risky because people are still going to say, look, it's Yordan Alvarez. When he's healthy, he's a first-round player, and they're going to still try and talk you into giving up more than you probably should. But at this point, I don't think there's a ton of value there for 2025.
All right, let's see if we can find some value. 2 for 3 yesterday. It's time to get to the best bets of the day with Joe and Joe. That's right. So here we go. Let's get, once again, New York Mets on the run line. Let's do it again, this time with David Peterson. Why? Because the Mets are arguably one of the best teams in baseball, which makes it easy to bet on them. And the Washington Nationals have a lot of issues. Irvin's on the mound on the other side with the 4 ERA. Let's go. Peterson's been terrific, especially at home. I can't believe I'm doing this. So either I'm embracing this or I'm cursing it, Joe. I'm not sure which one. Jack Leiter, over 4.5 strikeouts against the Minnesota Twins. So if he does it today and he has a good start, he has killed the Nepo baby persona. It's dead. It's gone. If. It's a huge if. We'll see. But over 4.5 strikeouts, let's see if he can get it. And if he doesn't, I'll be so sad tomorrow. So depressed. San Francisco Giants on the run line, -1.5 too. -154 right now is what you're getting. Robbie Ray on the mound. He has been terrific. Just continue to go at the Rockies whenever you can. So I'm basically betting on Robbie Ray, Peterson, and Mr. Leiter today. We'll see how it goes. Joe Orrico, what do you have for the people today?
So I also have Robbie Ray. I agree with you. Target the Rockies wherever you can. They strike out almost more than any team in baseball just over the last couple of weeks. I like to use 3 weeks as a sample size too. Something that I've kind of started doing a little bit more recently, just because that equals like a full season's worth of plate appearances for a player for the whole team. So it's like 650, 700 plate appearances. It gives you kind of a good idea. And the Rockies are striking out 25% of the time. When you go up against a guy like Robbie Ray, who is striking everybody out, this feels like a pretty attainable number, even at 7.5. I know it's a high number, but it feels very attainable at even money. David Festa, I know Rocco Baldelli hates us all. Rocco Baldelli will probably pull him at 4 2/3 innings. But considering he's facing the Rangers, and the Rangers are a team that strikes out a hell of a lot, and their offense has just been awful this season. Truly, I think they might be the most disappointing team in baseball offensively. So I think Festa, even if he gets a short leash, can still get over 5.5. And I think at plus money, that's a really good bet to make. And then going back to the Rockies game, Kyle Freeland, the walk number is a little bit interesting here. I thought we would see a little bit more of a juiced number at over 1.5, but plus 145. He is somebody that I don't really trust too much, and the Giants actually walk a fair clip, about 10% walk rate as a team. So this feels like a very, very achievable number against a pitcher who is just not very good. So David Festa over 5.5 strikeouts, Robbie Ray over 7.5 strikeouts, and Kyle Freeland over 1.5 walks.
I think that's the best bet of the day right there, especially if you can do a little research and find out who the umpire is at home plate today. If they have a smaller zone, that might be one you bet a couple units on. Because umpiring has not been great these last few weeks at the home plate. Make sure if you're making your bets, you go over fantasypros.com/leading off, where new customers bet $5, get $250 in bonus bets if you win. Again, that's only at fantasypros.com/leading off, and download the Betting Pros app today. Get the premium tools for free for 7 days when you use that promo code leading off. Bet smarter, not harder. Let's get to our home run calls for the day. And let's see the board and see what we got here. We got Wonky Penguin at 21. Let's see. Did I hit a home run yesterday? No, Junior Caminero did not hit a home run yesterday. So I'm still just floating behind that board. Joe Orrico, are you even in this contest, bruh?
With my kidney stones and my torn ligament in my ankle, I lost track of it. I hit a home run the first 2 days of the season, and I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to win the jersey. And then I was on the shelf for so long that I'm going to have to do something crazy to come back into it here. So we'll see. It's a long road ahead.
Just take Judge every day. The Joey P. You might be able to catch up. If you take Judge every day, you might get on the board. And if you hit a couple times, maybe when he's on off days, nothing's impossible right now. Let's get a look again. Francisco Lindor is my pick today, plus 360. He's got great numbers in his career against Irvin, so give me Francisco Lindor. I'm going all Mets today. What could go wrong? Joe Orrico, where are you going for your home run call today?
I'm going Heliot Ramos. I believe it was plus 290 on the book that I was looking at, but shop around against Kyle Freeland at Coors Field, righty versus lefty. This one feels like it's going to happen. I know he was the guy that hit the home run for me on the first day of the season, so let's run it back.
And as Jerry's saying, see everybody 4 o'clock today at YouTube. Again, subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB. Join us there for the chat. It's all Q&A. It's all your questions, all your needs for fantasy getting answered and taken care of at one time. Joe Orrico and I will be there while Welsh sits in the dentist chair and gets those veneers finally put on, which we've been waiting for a long time. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Joe, I'm also Joe. We'll see you next time, kids. Look at that. Look at that.
I love this show.
Me
I love
too.
being on the show. It's a great show.
Isn't it, though? It's a great show. Everybody loves this show.
You guys have done such a good job building it up with the audience and everything. It's a pleasure to be a part of it.
Don't say nice things. It's going to make me uncomfortable.